109-page document boils down to 5 main areas. Iran has reached a historic agreement with major world powers over its nuclear program. But what is Iran giving up, and how does it benefit in the long run? The 109-page document boils down to 5 main areas. Number 1. Iran's uranium stockpile. Uranium is the key ingredient necessary in order to operate a nuclear program. The deal requires Iran to give up 97% of its enriched uranium, taking its stockpile from 10,000 kilograms down to just 300 kilograms. That's much less than what's needed to fuel one nuclear weapon, although Iran maintains the capacity to increase the stockpile quickly. Number 2. Uranium enrichment. Uranium comes in different levels of enrichment. A purity of 90% is what's needed to make a weapon. Per the deal, Iran can still produce a modest amount of uranium enriched at low levels, just 3.67%. And if Iran abides by the deal, enrichment is limited in this way for 15 years. Number 3. Reduction of centrifuges. Centrifuges are the machines used to enrich uranium. Iran has to give up 2/3 of its centrifuges. Some 19,000 used for enrichment need to be reduced to about 5,000.
Anyway, who the fuck is this country just to say, you know what, you got to give up your uranium? Of course, they'll love to invade Iran just to take their uranium and have the most powerful nuclear sources around the world. America, they like that. Let your country have a lot of uranium and shit, but they don't have any protection. America, they'll come the ass over there in a heartbeat. Had a military soldiers to come over there, take all that uranium and shit, and go build some more weapons out of it, even more powerful weapons out of it, and say we got the world's most powerful military. You know, because they have to go over there in Iran and go over there to another country and go steal their uranium. And they're supposed to give up 90% of their uranium to who though? To you? You know, this how America's so you know, this how Babylon is so fucking stupid and delusional. You know, this is a spirit of delusion. Oh, you're supposed to give up your uranium to me. You're supposed to give up all your weapons to me. Like, who the fuck you think you are? You think you some damn bully or something? That's why Iran has a Russia guarding them. See, America ain't gonna fuck with Iran because they got China and Russia guarding them. They got BRICS nation. You know, because if the minute America step foot into Iran, that's why all hell gonna break loose. You're gonna have Russia to join in. You're gonna have China to join in. Everybody gonna be forced to fight back and start World War III. You know. Yeah, but if you notice too, Iran just gave some uranium to Russia. You know, all these countries are getting their arrows prepped to fire at Babylon. You know, all these countries are coming together to you know, they form a conspiracy against this place. All the enemy nations. You know, that's why you people better get right with the Lord, man. For you people get judged.
Iran can also have 1,000 more for research and development. So what this means is, if Iran abides by the deal, for the next decade, it will take Iran at least 12 months to produce enough fuel for a nuclear weapon. And to make sure it doesn't cheat, there will be, number 4, inspections. UN inspectors will be allowed to monitor nuclear and other sites, including military ones, but Iran can challenge requests for access. The inspectors need to provide a basis for concern about undeclared nuclear activity. Any Iranian challenge could delay inspections for up to 24 days. Critics say that could be enough time for Tehran to remove evidence it was carrying out banned activities.
Shit, Iran is their own country. America do not own Iran. Why the fuck is they going over there saying, fucking with them, just saying, oh, you can't dig uranium over here. We don't want you to have uranium. Who the fuck do you think you are? Iran. That's their fucking country. Iran won't do shit to us no way if you don't go over there fucking with them. That's like, I don't want that person to I want that man over there and sitting on the bench to have a gun. He might shoot me. Well, yeah, you know, he might not shoot me unless I go over there on my way to fuck with him and just probably punch him on the face. And next thing I know, I get shot. You know, you just don't fuck with people, you won't get hurt. You know, that's how it goes. America, here it is that these people waving around American flags. Oh yeah, crime must be stopped. I believe in the police officers. The police officers stop crime, right? But then all they might look at Haiti. Oh, the gang leaders in Haiti, you know, the cartel's evil. Oh, that's why I'm glad I don't live in that's why I'm glad I don't live in Venezuela, because the cartels, they evil. They extort people. But the minute I say, okay, the government do the same shit the cartels do. The cartels go invade certain territories for resources. You know, America will go over there to the Middle East and take all their uranium and take all their weaponry and go keep all those people hostage. And America goes over there to the Middle East and rob those countries of oil and resources. You know, but then if the cartel is robbing people and going and extorting people, oh, that's evil. That's evil. For instance, the American leaders are no different from the cartels, because the cartels extort people if out of money. If you don't pay taxes to this country, to the top elite, you know, the top elite is gonna have you thrown in jail and be tortured by evil ass sodomites and sadistic ass prison guards. Oh, this is the kingdom. Christ already returned. I'm proud to be an American. Can't hear you over the sound of my freedom. All these dumbass people. You know, like I'm even 19 years old and I'm smarter than most of my peers. You know, all they doing is just probably drinking and partying and fornicating. Meanwhile, I can comprehend enough to preach this gospel. You know, I even preach this gospel. I even go hard preaching this gospel more than the elders in church. And some of these people been in the Bible for like 60 years since they was a kid in the 1950s, and they still can't tell me shit about the prophecies or understand what I'm telling them. But you know, they're supposed to be Christians though. That lets you know how complicated this doctrine is. This doctrine is supposed to be complicated. You know, I'm glad Yahweh made this doctrine complicated, and I'm glad Yahweh Shai spoke in riddles. You know why? Because if he said it easily, these people would get it, and not everybody would get it. Because the more difficult the Lord made it, the more the people have to try harder to understand and to follow this. And the fact that you have to try hard and understand, and that's when Yahweh Shai will know that you're one of his elect. That's how it works. You know, that's why we don't go out there to convince atheists and do what these stupid ass Christians do. Convince people wearing pride parade flags, go on a pride parade and convince everybody, every sodomite there, to go follow Jesus and be interested in the scriptures. Them people rocking the pride flag, then they're not one of the elect. 9 out of 10, they're not. You know, just like going to the Church of Satan. We're going to show up to the Church of Satan building just to convince them to be Christians. We're not convincing nobody to do shit. Most of them people gonna be fucking destroyed. They're gonna be burnt up and destroyed. They're gonna be on the ground screaming while all their skin is being burnt off, eyes being burnt out. Then if these people are still left alive, they're gonna have maggots eating at their body, because they're gonna be rotting away from the nuclear radiation. All these people are getting burnt up and shit. This place is gonna be like a hot oven. You know, that's why we say fuck convincing people. But all I'm gonna say is shalom, shalom. No, that's gonna be it for this video. Guess I got a few minutes to bring somebody up. Okay, you're up.
Yo.
Yep.
Yo, do you know who this is?
Jay.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I was speaking on the prophecies.
Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Is it loud or is it quiet?
No, it's a little bit louder than mine, but it's good. I can still hear you though. You good. It's all good.
All right. What's going on, man?
Nothing. Just speaking on the prophecies. If you notice that that America is actually getting weaker, and these nations are getting stronger. These enemy nations are actually prepping. They're prepping to go to war with Babylon. They're getting their own currency, getting their weapons stockpiled up. And the funny thing about it is America, they want to go tell Iran, oh, you can't have uranium. So how come you don't want Iran to go protect themselves? You know, because if you don't go over there fucking with them, they're not gonna hurt us. Just like if there might be a crazy nut with a gun in his hand I mean, not a gun, but a gun in his pocket on the bench, I could say I don't want that man to have a gun. But if I walk past him, he's not going to really do nothing. Unless I go over there to punch him or whatever, and then I get shot. See what I mean? You just don't fuck with people.
I necessarily don't think America is gonna get into war directly with Iran, but I think Israel is eventually, because they're already at war with Iran, and I think eventually it's gonna escalate to where they already did a ground siege, I think, on their western border for something. I forgot what it was for. Israel did. They sent in the IDF, but I think eventually it's gonna go like all out scale instead of like all the covert operations and the small scale like operations. They're gonna send in a lot of military, and Israel doesn't have the military to do a full scale invasion war, so they're gonna send in the U.S. That's my prediction.
And then they're gonna start
And
drafting people too.
yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure about that. But more directly, I think that's how it's going to play out. Because have you ever heard of anything called the Greater Israel Expansion or the Greater Israel
They
Vision?
want to turn all those countries into like deep like ports where they can like ship goods and shit.
Well, kind of. That's the part of it. Hold up. But with Israel, they've been planning like a greater vision of territorial expansion and monopolization and like building infrastructure and like industry. You know what I'm saying? Like they got plans, but they don't. I can't speak on it, but from what I've witnessed, it doesn't look like they plan on directly just going in and seizing territory, because then the world would look at them in another like into another kind of fashion, like a negative fashion, a different limelight, and like then they would have like hot water on their hand, which is actually how it's playing out now with Palestine. But I think they deliberately influence countries in the Middle East by supplying and demanding different factions, and building them up, and then also having their own agents within these factions to probably like take it over and use them as tools and pawns to use them for their greater good. So like all them Islamic terrorist factions that we see in the Middle East. I'm not gonna like say any like key words, but I think what I just explained a moment ago is what we're seeing.
Basically,
So with
like they like say ISIS, but it's made by the government, like a controlled opposition.
well, yeah, kind of, but then no, not really, because initially maybe these groups started out good, or not. I don't want to say good because like that's like evil still, these people, but they weren't up until the power of structure they were until maybe Mossad or somebody got involved. And so my thing is how I see it. I could be wrong, and there may be other people who have similar ideas, but there's not too much like people talking about it online. So that's also another kind of like gripe. But like what they did in Syria, where they tore apart the government, where they were like they weren't a first world country, but they were near, like probably slightly above a third world country. They were probably like a second world country, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
And look what they did, and look how it is now. You know what I'm saying? And like look what they've done to like Yemen, Libya, all these other countries as well. They tore them apart where it's all rubble and sand now. You know what I'm saying? So like sooner or later, they're gonna start seizing land. I would say so, and so, but probably not directly. They're probably gonna use these like lands and territories as like asset states.
Yeah.
and they're gonna like probably start like occupying them when there's nobody there, when the government is no
Yeah.
longer like an established thing.
Now I got a
So
question.
I think they're gonna do that with Iran,
Yeah.
and they're probably gonna tear it apart. But that's like you mentioned, like what is it? Like docks and ships and shit. So that's another part of it. So like I've been dividing it because I'm gonna do a video on this very soon. So you're kind of getting like a little bit of a preview for it. You know what I'm saying? So there's like three parts to it. There's the religious side where this is their promised land. You know what I'm saying? So they view it as that. And so this is what God has promised them from the very beginning, a strong Israel, mass land. So, they're going to boost up, territorial expansion. And then they're going to boost up the infrastructure. So they're probably going to start exploiting the lands that they take by, them 15-minute cities. They're probably going to be building those condos. And then these countries have oil. So that's another kind of faction, and then they also have drugs as well, like opiate, poppy plants, and all this kind of stuff. So you have infrastructure there, industries, and then they're going to build up. It's called the Ben Gurion Canal. There's a portion of the Red Sea that will go into this like small layout of southern Israel, and they want to build this canal that connects the Red Sea into the Mediterranean Sea. Now there's already a port canal that does that, and it's in Egypt. Well, Egypt and Israel don't really have good standings. They were at war hella years ago, and so like my thing is, like I told you, they don't directly get involved in conflicts. They probably like steer them covertly until the people start retaliating against them. Now there's there's books that explain a lot of these kind of tactics. If anybody's listening, check out The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. If you talk to Grace Through Faith on Discord a lot, you may have heard him mention this. But these layouts, and the code of ethics, if you want to call it that, that's a better phrase, is how they go about it. And in the Talmud, you'll start seeing the parallels between what we see in the real world and like what the sages and the rabbis and their supremacist commentaries have wrote about for centuries. And it's finally in a final stage execution. But I'm just gonna finish on with the Palestine. So they're gonna build this canal. They have this vision since the 60s, and so pardon my language. But
no, you could cuss.
They're gonna try to rival Egypt, Asia, North America, and anything that's in Europe. So instead of America or like China or Japan or the NATO or even Russia, instead of them being the import-export nations, Israel at this time in the plan is gonna be probably the top tier world one. All right, and so they would be unstoppable at that point. They would probably hold territory that is maybe a little bit half the size of what you would see in the United States, going based off state length mapping. And so you can look this up on Google. It's called the Ben Gurion Canal, BEN space GURIAN or ION canal, and you get the summary on it. But they're going to connect the Red Sea. But see, what lies in the place of where they want to build this? Palestine.
Yeah, I see it on the map right now. So Palestine is like the beginning of it, and then it's going to spread all the way into like the canal.
Yeah, no, they're going to try to rival the Egyptian canal. They're trying to replace it. They're trying to be and replace them. But right now, Egypt is the one that does that. So instead of going through Egypt, you could pay tolling probably a little bit cheaper, and they'll probably have benefits. Maybe, that's just how like business tactics are. And you can go through Israel, save a little bit of timing of
Yeah.
a ship trade. And so Palestine, the Gaza Strip lies directly in the place that they want to build this. So they don't own that land. Technically, that is a foreign land, and they got borders surrounding the Palestinian Strip, and so the Gaza Strip. All right. So what they've probably been doing for like many of years is waiting for the key moment for the Hamas to do that thing they did back on October 7th of 24. And so they probably waited, but then how the hell did they get through when it's like a prison border fence? They got guard sniper towers and high, tall barbed wire electric fences all surrounding that. So like, think about it. Like, how did they get through? That's just that. Yeah. The Palestinians, how did they get through?
There's one guy on BitChute that says the whole war is fake.
No, that's bullshit.
Yeah. This guy believes everything is fake. Because it could be
there's a lot of truthers that believe that. I believe some things are fake. I think a couple of I'll spell it for you: MASS SHOOTING. If you know what I'm spelling, are fake. I think a lot of those are in the United States.
Yeah, mass deleting.
Yeah, exactly. I'm spelling it because I don't want you to get hit with it, because that's one thing that you can. But I think I spelled that pretty well where you won't. But see, now here's the kicker, though. If Palestine, so they got through somehow, and they attacked. So now this gave Israel the forefront to actually not work in the shadows, but go up front and show the world stage exactly about who they are and their dwellings and what they do for to say. You know what I'm saying? And we got a good gist of what we'll probably say. And so bombings, hospitals, children dying, Palestinian men and women scattered, families torn apart, homes and establishments bad. American and European aid that is there to help, the innocent bystanders being stolen, and journalists being kidnapped by the opposing side that's now invading Palestine. And there's a lot of stories, and then like you have also these like lie stories too about that were in the picture. I don't know. I can't say, I'm not there, but I've heard they're making and fabricating certain stories to make the other side look bad. And so another thing too. So a couple months ago, Trump said he's getting involved with the Gaza situation and he's gonna build a greater Palestine, but he left it very vague on what like his vision is. The only thing that he was really clear about is he's getting involved. Nobody really knows where the Palestinians are going to go, and he left it very vague. So with him getting involved, he posted on his Twitter a kind of diagram on how he wants to do. It's an AI generated video, and it shows like Israeli and Palestinian, I think, kids and families running on a beachfront hut, like kind of like Miami Beach. It looked like, with condos, and like it looked like a 15-minute city. It looked like Miami Beach. Okay, yeah. And so that is the goal that they want for the Gaza Strip. That is gonna be their Miami Beach area. Their tourist attraction. It's gonna be families, tourists coming in, Americans, Chinese, Japanese. This is going to be the place where. Yeah, what's up?
So, do you think it's like Esau's doing, like the actual bloodline of like actual Esau, like GMS will say?
Well, I don't believe Esau is who you guys say they are. I think you guys say white people and the Jays are the one and the same. I don't believe. Well, I'm just like paraphrasing. All European nations and the people that are there are one and the same. I don't believe that. They're two different races of people.
Yeah, because you get Amalek too.
Right. And so what is it? So they're going to build this beach hut front tourist trap, but then half of this tourist trap is probably going to be like bridges and freeways. I don't know how it's going to look, but half of this is going to be a large import trading canal that's going to connect from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, the Ben Gurion Canal. So that's the foundation. Want to say myself is what they're going to do. So this is the beginning stages of the larger Israel vision. You know what I'm saying? A greater Israeli state. All right. And so another thing too, the place that they want to build a third temple, because they already have the beginning stages in works. There's not a society. There's a commission and an institution of people there that are trying to build the third temple right now in Israel. They've already talked about it, and they believe that Donald Trump is going to be the one to help them do it. So that's why they see Trump as a Cyrus the Assyrian figure. That's why they have the Trump Temple Cyrus coin over in Israel right now. The dude that owns the channel Round Saturn's Eye, aka Rise on YouTube, I share his videos every now and then on my channel. You've probably seen the video. He went there and he's talked to the people that want to do this. And so the place that they want to build the third temple is the Dome of the Rock. And so this place already has a religious structure on it. There's a mosque that sits on this place where they want to build the third temple. So how are they going to do that when, there's already something there? You know what I'm saying? So, like we might be seeing more to come in the near future. So I myself expect a war with Iran. I expect a war with a couple other places. But see, not every Arabic nation in the Middle East is against Israel. Saudi Arabia, that country, they're in full support of Israel.
I know them too. Fly Emirates is with them.
Oh, you mean the United Emirates?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But they're very small compared to Saudi Arabia.
Dubai is with the Western nations too. You can look at
right.
We like America.
And not Israel. Saudi Arabia's prince, I believe, or their king. I forgot the dude, but he did a video speaking in English, and it was a message to Netanyahu, I believe, or Americans. And they say they're not against Israel because they see themselves as their cousins. Because the prince said that he's an Ishmaelite, and the Saudi Arabians are Ishmaelites, and they're cousins and related to
So I got
the
another
Israelis.
question. If those are supposed to be the real Jews, then why are they strongly related to Ishmael? They're not. Matter of fact, they're supposed to be enemies anyway. If they're the real Israelites, because they wouldn't have all this power, they'll be oppressed.
Yeah, that's another thing. Well, they would say they're oppressed, but that's a whole nother conversation that
they are connected to Ishmael. Because that Talmud. That Talmud is the same as like the Quran.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Well, the Talmud has connections to it, though.
Not really.
It's like an old video that had it, but on BitChute, but I don't know what happened to that.
You got to look into some of that stuff too, though, on your own. You just can't watch a video and take.
Yeah, I would if I have
a forefront. Yeah.
Because tomorrow, tomorrow I'm working shit, so I might get up at 10 a.m. 2 hours to get my shit prepared. Then I'll be pissed off going to work at 1 a.m. and shit because the boss gets on my damn nerves.
Yeah.
It was like a lesbian couple that had me rolled up for some petty shit. Oh, you're being.
I've had that happen too.
Oh, you too.
But they were trans. Female to male.
Yeah, these.
I said retard.
Yeah.
I said retarded, but I didn't call nobody retarded. I was talking about the parking prices for the parking where everybody parks. I said, oh, those prices are retarded because they're if you don't have a discount, they're $22 a day. That's a lot of money. That adds up weekly. That's like $100.
Are they trans men or trans women?
Female to male.
Female too. Oh yeah, you dealing with them lesbian. They'll try to flex their muscle at you too. I know for a fact. That shit they do that shit with me too. Like try to like
Right.
they'll wear like a trucker hat and then they'll like walk with their chest out. Any little
No,
petty
not
shit-
even that. Not even that. They're like opposite of that. Like
Like
colorful hair.
any like petty shit you do, they'll find a reason like to fuck with you. Like for
Not
instance,
all of them. Not all of them.
not
Dude.
all of them.
Some of them are real nice and like cool
Yeah.
people. You know, I'm gonna just put that on the record. But then some of them are not. I think it all really depends on like their worldview and like their moral compass and like their political stance. Because if it's very far leaning, then far left leaning, then like the people that me and you just talked about getting offended by everything, that's where it's coming from. Because then there's gays and lesbians and trans that are not like that, and they'll fuck around and joke around with you too if they hear you. So I can't say that all of them are like that,
Yeah.
because that would be an understatement. But majority of them, I would
the
say
ones
so.
I dealt with were assholes. Shit like
Then it all really depends on too where
Yeah.
you live.
Oh, I live in Chicago, like 1 hour away from. Chicago.
Well, yeah, then you'll see them there because there's a lot of them that are there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to get back on to the Greater Israel expansion. See, now nobody is talking about any of this. I'm probably one of the smaller few people that see, this kind of diagram, this world stage plan in place. Because everybody just wants to talk about bullshit or religious teachings, which is not a bad thing. But then, they'll start like talking about the world and how they'll see it like ending, or how they'll see the future foretelling. But then, they'll leave the whole gist of Israel and its greater state and the Messiah that they have in the making and their third temple that they have in the making. Because regardless if anything's going to play out, that's going to be a major plot point in the larger grand scheme of things.
Now, I do got a question. So you think that once they create the new Messiah, do you think they'll come out with the Mark of the Beast, like the MOBT chip? Because it do exist.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. I definitely wouldn't doubt it. But I think they're probably going to bring in a cashless society. And I think that is like a couple of years ago, crypto became a big thing. Like it existed, but nobody knew what it was until like 5 years ago. I think it was about 4.5, and it was all over. Like when I started, like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ads were taking over my devices wherever I was. I thought I got hacked, and I thought I was getting like flooded with like ads that were like scams. But then everybody was talking. No, I didn't. No, let me get into that. I thought my phone and devices got hacked, but then it was on the radio, and like they're talking about it, how it's probably going to lead into a cashless society. I was listening to an alt-right station because I used to do delivery, so like I was always on the radio. But like, I mean, it came out a couple years ago. It was this big thing that came out of nowhere. It existed, but it got like power now on the world stage. And so now it's a thing in the world. So you got NFTs, cryptocurrency, all this like digital money that comes out of nowhere. What the fuck is a Bitcoin? Nobody knows what that was. How do you hold that? Like it's so easily to lose. You can either store it on a flash drive or on some wallet chain somewhere, but that's easily to lose. Like you can lose that flash drive and then some dude picks it up. Yeah, that too. So I'm like, that is so stupid. I'd rather have physical money. Take me back to the gold standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me gold and silver. But I think that's going to be one of the play that's in the world stage that countries are going to use is crypto for the cashless society.
Now, another thing, at least when we backed by gold and stuff, if something go wrong or if we can't use that money, we get gold, and gold was worth more. So with the people, so once you have a cashless society with no gold, they can say, all right, I got these motherfuckers. They gonna do anything I tell them to because they can't get off the grid because they always need our shit. They can't get gold or be independent because land is more. I'd rather have land than I would money because some people will say, you know what, you should buy gold. You should buy gold. I'll say buy land because When it's
No,
not
no,
on the
don't
cashless society, you can still sell that shit, land.
buy land. But see, here's the kicker though. They always can seize your land. All
Yeah,
right. But so you're saying don't invest in the gold. I would say the complete opposite. So you have the stock market, and then you have a rival to that now, which is the cryptocurrency. If you look
yeah.
at like wallet chains
Hold
and
on, I
shit
think
where
you're
you
going
buy.
out. Oh no,
Hello?
never mind. I'm back.
Okay. So look at places where you buy crypto. It looks just like the stock market. Now, when you play the stock market and crypto, I'm not saying you're always going to lose, but you have more of a losing chance than a winning chance, same as the stock market. It's probably fun to like put on like 10 or 20 bucks on
Yeah, because
something,
I
you know.
invested into stock today.
Yeah, yeah, that's that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
Yeah,
don't go invest like tens and 20 thousands of dollars worth
I did like 35.
because you know that's there's more of a losing chance than
Yeah,
chance. But so see, here's the thing though. If I will tell you to invest anything, invest into gold and
BlackRock.
silver.
Oh yeah.
No, no, not BlackRock.
Well,
Invest into gold and
yeah.
silver. Because BlackRock is failing right now.
Oh really? Because I was about to invest into that because I told my dad that BlackRock makes so much money off of wars, and since there's a lot of wars, I can invest into it. And my dad was like, "Don't do it because you investing into your own slavery." Because he explained to me saying when you invest in certain stocks, you giving money to rich people for your own slavery, which I didn't
That's
think
true.
of it like that. Because he also told me too, basically, if you invest the money into BlackRock, you have no morals because you understand the shit that they do. He actually explained it to me how the stock market works. He said stock market ain't shit, just invest into yourself. Because all the stock market is saying, I'm gonna invest $35 per day. So your money could increase. Because like for instance, CSX Corporation could probably go up to you know what corporation that is, right?
No.
Yeah, it's like a railroad corporation. So let's say, for instance, so the stock might be worth the lowest you could buy is $5, but the top you could go to is 207. So let's say if I invested $207, either that's the top is going to go at $207, not going to go above that. So I'm investing 207. So I can either lose that 207 and gain that 207 right back. So basically, if I'm investing $207, I might as well open up a savings account, invest $207 because you invest in somebody's company, invest into yourself. Because let's say if you go to sell those shares, you might have a few $1,000s if you win, but you can also have a few $1,000s if you save that money too. See what I mean? Like it's like also like
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. But see, with that though, that's
yeah,
always the win or lose situation, and the percentage rate on losing is very high than on the winning. So if I would say invest in anything, invest in the gold or silver, or maybe in even some kind of like metal. You know what I'm saying? Like that would probably be more beneficial than a cryptocurrency or anything that's on the affordable on the
yep,
stock market exchange. But see, that's the thing. That's what I think the cashless society is going to be. Because if you look into Jasara and Nasara, I don't know if you know what those are, but the national debt relief, I think that's how they're going to bring it in. They're going to wipe the deficit with the national and global debt, and they're going to start new, and they're going to give everybody money, but it's going to be digitally. This is just like I can't really like specify it, but that's how when I heard that, that's how I've always seen that. I could be wrong. I always could be wrong, but that's a good a key mindset to think about when you hear about that kind of that stuff. And so I think the cashless society is going to come in through the cryptocurrency, or what is now called cryptocurrency, because now you can see Trump trying to bring up some kind of relevancy with the cryptocurrency. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, the Greater Israel vision.
yeah,
So if you read from the Talmud, there's a part in, I believe, Sanhedrin 59a. I could be wrong on the verse, but it's in there. And Sanhedrin is the portion of the Talmud that talks about the judges and how to execute law, and how stuff should be, people should be properly punished, and capital punishment and all this kind of stuff. That's what the Sanhedrin is. It's the court system in the Talmud, the commentary on it. So in the Talmud, when it starts talking about the law, the Torah, so in the Talmud, it says the Torah is only for the Jews, which, okay, now listen to this. So any non-Jew, a Gentile, the goyim, who read the Talmud, and I'm not saying anything hateful. You could bring up the verse. This is a religious teaching. This is a religious text. So anything that YouTube would deem as offensive, this is what it says. We could bring it up. I don't know if you want to bring that up at the time, but we could bring that up. And so just putting that on the record right now. But reading from it, nearly paraphrasing what it says, the Torah is only for the Israelites. It's only for the Jews of ancient Israel, and probably to them now modern Israel. And so they have a portion where it says the non-Jews who are seen reading from the Talmud. I'm not reading, well, probably from the Talmud, but reading from the Torah, reading from the law, are supposed to be put to unaliving. I don't want to say, death, but that's what it says. Any non-Jew that reads the Torah is to be put off with unalive. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm referring to. And then it has a portion for non-Jews right below that. It says any Jew who reads the Torah is to put to unalive, but the Jews, the non-Jews have their own section. It's called the 7 mitzvot. Mitzvot means commandment, or commandments, or laws. So this is a reference in the Talmud of the 7 Noahide laws. These are going to, once Israel is in a power with their Messiah, and there's the global religion, because that's how they view it. If you watch the Round Saturn's Eyes video, he's interviewing these religious teaching Jews that want to build the third temple. This is how they see the world, that there's going to be a universal global religion, and everybody's going to be made to come worship the God, but it's going to be all different kinds of faith, and they're going to be subjected to the Israelites. And so with this, though, now do have the Noahide laws. These Noahide laws are the laws for the non-Jews. But see, sure, that's fine and dandy. But see, the rest of the Talmud still stands, though. You know what I'm saying? So if a non-Jew is reading from the Torah, they're, you know what I'm saying? Like they're done. They're going to be, their head will be no longer attached to their body. If that, that's the case. If a non-Jew, hold on. If a non-Jew steals from a Jew, if a non-Jew steals from a Jew, their head is no longer going to be attached to their body. So this is the status quo that is going to be set into place, and this is all coming from the Talmud. This is not anything YouTube. This is not anything that's out of the proportion. That's not in the form of religious teachings. This is what the Talmud says. That every Jew is going to have 2,800 slaves, and so on and so on. Now, see, doesn't this sound all familiar? Haven't we been learning this the last few years? It's a little bit different, but I mean, for most part, it sounds very similar. But that's all I'm going to say so far, because this is in another video that I want to get into. You're getting a preview on it, Lion of Judah. But so with the 7 mitzvot, you remember a couple of years ago where they were bringing in those guillotines, and they had the government disclosure on why they had the U.S. aid, and FEMA had guillotines. What do you think? Well, I was about to mention that, but if you look that up right now, the U.S. government guillotines. If you know what a guillotine is, it's back in the ancient. Yeah, exactly. So why do we have that in our possession? And also, if you think about it, back during like Hurricane Harvey, people were finding these Walmart superstores. They were being gut out, and the only thing that was still in there when they're filming was the pharmacy, which was later closed down. And then they started constructing these guard towers. Why the hell were they building these? They look like miniature military camps. You know what I'm saying? And why were they Walmart businesses? If you look that up, FEMA camps, Walmart. and you'll see them. I'm not drawing a parallel between these two. I'm just, referencing that. And then they had all these coffins. Why did FEMA and the USAID and the United States government have mass disposable coffins on hand? You know what I'm saying? What are these for? What are the guillotines for? Now, I'm not drawing a parallel between that and Israel, but, that's something to, that's interesting to bring to the table. Why do we have all that? So this is the plot point that I think is going to be in play. Everything that I mentioned here tonight. It's just a short summary, and a lot of this takes aspect to it. And there's a lot of like stuff that has happened years ago in the past, like with the Ottoman Empire and the Jews that were made to supposedly forced to be Muslims. That's the case. The Don May Jews, and then which led into the Armenian Genoside. And then they called that a conspiracy and said that never happened, but there's stuff that's on the record in the past that proves that it has happened. And you'll see parallels between what happened to the Armenians and the Islamic Jews, who were Jews practicing Islam in the daytime, but then they were practicing Judaism in the secret because they didn't want to offend the Ottoman rulers at the time, in these Freemason lodges underground in the nighttime. And so the only people that knew about the true religion of Judaism in the Ottoman Empire by the Don May Jews, who were supposedly Muslim, but were actually practicing the religion underground, were themselves and their kids and their forefathers. And so they established they made their way into the power structures of the Ottoman Empire, which I personally believe eventually led to that nation's downfall. Because at the time, the Ottoman Empire held Palestine. That was their territory. The Palestinians are, you could probably say, precursors to the Ottoman Empire. If you want to talk about where they came from, that's probably, part of a settlement that was once there. And so once that fell, that was the game plan. But see, if you look at the parallels between the Don May and the Ottoman Empire, we can see that also in Eastern Europe with the communists back in I'm not going to say anything, but in Germany, which eventually led to the Mustache Man. And then the same thing that happened, I mind you, the Ottoman Empire, and this I forgot the name of it. It was they were actually formed a lobby group, if you want to call it that. I don't know the exact vocabulary, but we'll call them lobbyists in the Ottoman Empire. These Don May had their own, like, let's say they were like how we have Republican, Democrat, Green Party. They had their own party, and that eventually came to power. And so around the same time that this happened was 1917. And what also happened in 1917 too was when the Tsar and that royal family that controlled Russia for over 100 years was assassinated, and all the royal class that were there, I mind you, that had this country on its feet and running, and they weren't communists and they weren't socialists. They were just like a normal country of Europeans just trying to run a nation. You know what I'm saying? And the people that ran that were the Tsar. It was the royal family, and they were eventually assassinated or executed by a rival class. And the people that did this was Vladimir Lenin. I think that's his name, Lenin. I could be saying the first name wrong, but I think I have that right. And he was J. He was a J, and he led the Bolsheviks around the same time too that the family of the Tsar was assassinated. Was 1917. That's just a parallel to bring into the proportion right there. But the same thing that happened in Germany and in the Ottoman Empire down south happened up north. And the Bolsheviks came into power and seized the country and did the same thing that they did to the Ottomans. They did the same thing that they did to the Germans. They did in Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution and the establishment of the USSR, Soviet Union. and we'll start seeing parallels with proportion. And this is all historical events. This is nothing on the record for YouTube. I'm not saying that's anything offensive. This is historical events, religious understanding, religious texts, religious teachings, and past events. So nothing is out of the ordinary. You can look these up on Google, and you can find all these by definition. It's all on Wikipedia. Yeah. But see, that's the game. Marxism, socialism, communism are all inventions. So Marxism it's an economic teaching and a structure, but it's also more of a philosophy. And from that philosophy, you get socialism and communism. So Marxism, communism, socialism, it's all synonyms for the same thing. That dude that made it, Karl Marx, that made the Communist Manifesto, I actually own that. It's right here. Was a J. His real name was Mordecai Levi or Levy, and that's a J name.
So I got a question. So remember you said like about the Israel expansion takeover. Is that why in Revelations it says that mentions the synagogue of Satan, also mentions the saints will be slain?
You could probably say that. Yeah, I would say so.
Now I do got a question because some people say nukes are fake. So if they like expand and stuff, how will Babylon be burnt down?
It's probably going to be from a world war. You just see the other day that Russia says that it's not going to cease any kind of peace deal because they've been bombing Ukraine when there were peace talks on the table. Trump, Putin, and Zelensky were supposed to meet. Zelensky were supposed to meet at the Vatican, hosted by the Pope for peace talks. I don't know if that has happened yet, or I don't know if it is. But just this morning, it didn't happen. Just this morning, Putin says if U.S. gets involved any longer, it's going to be World War III. So exactly what I just told you is probably going to be the play. So you talk about BRICS. You talk about BRICS nation. That's a good alliance to look at because Iran, China, and Russia are allies. You know what I'm saying? They do business deals. They got treaties and truces and import export in between. And Brazil too. These nations.
Oh, so they're going basically. Okay, so you got NATO, which is Israel. They want to expand in their stuff, and they want to be the manufacturers. Meanwhile, you got BRICS expanding their stuff, also at weaponry and all that to expand and to be the kings of the world too. So it's BRICS versus NATO. So that's why it says in Revelations that he's going to put in their hearts to come together in Armageddon and battle each other. They're really going to battle each other over resources. Who's going to get more resources, who's not? That's why Russia. That's why.
Yeah,
Russia,
you could say that.
Because that's why
you definitely
Russia
could say that.
Bag Iran. Because Iran and Russia are good buddies.
But I don't think it's just because of resources. It's the power play that is going to be in place. So it's going to be a lot of different reasons for stuff happening. You have prophecy unfolding. If you want to view it as that, you have a world conflict. You have rumors of wars. You have actual wars. You have the lies are going to be so prevalent. There's probably going to be tons of censorship that's going to be censoring the other side.
You should be offended for my name's sake.
Yeah, and so and then another thing, if Israel does come into power, they don't like Jesus. So how do you think they're going to take Christianity with
they're going to start taking Bibles away. The real book of God. They're going to take the Bible.
They'll probably ban the New Testament. But I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I can't say if they will, but from what the Talmud says, and this is their oral law now solidified and written with now commentary.
Okay,
from
I got another question. So I remember Albert Pike saying he wanted Israel and Islam to be destroyed. So how would Israel take over then if Islam and Israel have to be destroyed, including all religions?
Hold on, I got burp. I don't know. But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, like, that's not out of proportion, because what's written, what he talked about, is now unfolding. So I mean, a lot of these people are like, they're satanic, and they know they're satanic in some kind of way. They say they're one thing, but then underground they're worshiping all these deities. So I mean, that's not out of any kind of limelight that we'll probably see, because even in that letter, it talks about how he's going to bring in an atheistic state, but from the atheistic state they're going to bring in the Luciferian order. So that's not out of the ordinary of anything that I mentioned.
Yeah. So then another question too. What was gonna say? Wait, I forgot the question. It's about somebody Israel.
This is a good discussion. Don't delete this. I'm going to clip this.
I know.
This last time I was talking, but then you winded it.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to use this as a preview to a video I'm going to do. But yeah, man. I definitely think that.
At 2:30, I'm gonna go to bed because it's 2:30 here in Chicago time. Because
yeah, that's fine. I think I didn't mention everything. Nah, well, I kind of, but I go to bed around like 4.
Then what time you wake up in the evening?
I wake up about maybe like 12.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I work mostly nights. So by the time that I go to work, it's like 5:30, 6:30 sometimes that I gotta go, and so I don't get home sometimes till maybe throughout the weekdays. I'll probably get home around maybe 11, 11:30, 12, yeah, sometimes sooner, and so that's what the weekdays would be, and on the weekends I probably, because we close at 11:30 at night. So by the time we're done cleaning up and everything and I'm getting home, I'm probably, sometimes it's probably almost 2, but mostly it's around about 1:30. So I mean, by the time I'm getting home, walking in the door, changing, playing on my phone for a moment, and then taking a shower and get something to eat, it's already 3 o'clock in the morning. So how that I'm going to bed around 4:30 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another thing to mention though, because I mentioned that they in the Talmud, so they'll have excuses. They'll say that the Jesus and the Mary that are referenced, but mostly the Jesus that's referenced in the Talmud is not the Jesus of the New Testament. But then it mentions that the same Jesus being a Nazarene, but then it also mentions the same Jesus being born of a virgin, and the same Jesus, his name is Mary, whom they call a whore and a prostitute, and she was a slut. And then it says this Jesus was is punishment for going against the sages, is burning in a form of hell for eternity.
I got one question. That was 2,000 years ago. If those are the real Jews, and how would they know all that stuff went down 2,000 years ago? What Mary did and all this other stuff around Israel, wasn't that supposed to be in captivity and stripped from their heritage? I really don't get it. How would they know all that stuff?
Well, I mean, that's a major religion, though. Even back then, everybody knew what it was. So, I mean, even if that's the play, even pagans were probably aware of Christianity and Jesus and, the stories of Jesus and Mary and Joseph.
Yeah, but what proof that they have that was being true? Second of all, it seemed like they add on to stuff. They'll make their own Talmuds and stuff, because even I can't make my own book and say this is a translation of Antonio or whatever. Because even the scriptures, God forbid that.
Well, see, even today, a lot of people don't really know what the Jewish texts are. They think it's just the Torah and the Old Testament. They don't realize there's the Talmud, there's the Midrash, there's the Mishnah, which are parts of the Talmud. If you want to look up definitions for that, there's you could probably find those. But those are like parts of the Talmud, the Midrash, and the Mishnah, and then they have the Zohar, which is a whole nother thing. And then they have the Torah, the Tanakh, the Tanakh is the books of the prophets, and the Torah is the 5 books of the Bible. And so then they the Zohar, then they have the Kabbalah or the Kabbalah. That's like taboo, but like even like them, like the majority of the Hasidic and rabbinic people read from it. That's something they do. And even in that right there, they have a form of reincarnation. So I mentioned like earlier how we've heard all this before. We're seeing another parallel, but that's all I'm going to say. And so you have the Kabbalah, but then there's also another form of mysticism that's ancient than that. You have Merkava or Merkaba. Sometimes it's with the ba is with a B or an A, ba. But I mean, like a lot of people don't know about any of this. So on the record, just to name those, if people want to look into those, the Talmud, Talmud, Zohar, Zorah, Mishnah is how it sounds, Mishna, but you'll probably see that with the Talmud. And there's another one with the G, the Gemara, but I forgot how to spell that. And then you also have the Midrash. But these are just parts of the Talmud, though. You'll see like these referenced every now and then. Midrash, Midrash, Kabbalah. Everybody's familiar with Kabbalah, Kab, sometimes with a Q, Qab. But you'll probably look that up, Kabbalah. What was the other one that I said? Merkava, Merk, sometimes V, sometimes B, AH, and then there might have been another one that I missed, but if you don't know what these are, which a lot of Christians don't, and a lot of Christians don't know what's being taught, and a lot of Christians don't know what's being said about them, the religion, the faith, other religions, and Jesus.
Yeah.
This is the putting the record and setting the stuff straight. So people that are on Fox and on TV, like Charlie Kirk, and they want the benefit of all these religious people.
Republicans, yep.
Yeah, and they all wear small hats. There's pictures of Charlie Kirk wearing small hats and defending the Talmud. Yeah, but these are people that are like alt-right Republican people that are supposed to be people that are for people like me and you, like Trump. But these people don't talk about anything that we've mentioned here tonight because you know why? They can't, because these are the people that control them.
Right, because you could talk about white people or blacks as being whites and blacks against each other, saying, "Oh, black fatigue," you're pointing at the white man. But if you say, "Okay, it's not the black or the white man, it's a small hat," everybody will turn silent.
Look, check this, man. You can shit on white people all day. Nothing really too out of the ordinary would happen. You could shit on black people all day. There may be some people on the internet that are like solo, that are like probably like individuals that are not like a larger part of a society or faith get mad, but that's mostly just your average everyday black person. But with the larger grand scheme of things, you could criticize black people without any repercussions. You could criticize white people without any repercussions. You could criticize any kind of Christianity without any repercussions, and you could criticize Islam, but the same sentiment, like I said, with the black people, but that still doesn't stand, because you could criticize Islam without any repercussions, unless it's it's like an Islamic country, and you're like shitting on them. They'll do what the cartel does, and if you're talking shit, they'll probably come in and like scare you, or if you said anything too bad, they'll probably kill you. But I mean, in a free country where freedom of speech is a thing, you could criticize all these people without anything like affecting your job or affecting your image or affecting your comfortable living life, or your family. So there may be like individual people trying to dox you for the stuff you say, but like no government or religious group is going to come after you. But now, if you criticize anything that's over there, you probably can, as long as you remain under kind of the radar. But like if you start hitting the mainstream, like TV and like getting headlines, oh, you'll be canceled.
You seen Kyrie
Yeah.
Irving? He went from like preaching actual Hebrew gospel to, oh, I'm sorry, y'all, because it was like a group. It was like two Jewish kids sitting in the audience, and then he randomly went up to him and said, "I'm sorry, you Jews like the best people. I'm very sorry about it." And I was like, "What he gonna start doing? He gonna blow the small hats next to, like it's this stupid stuff." If I say something about them, they say, "Okay, it's time to go to the Holocaust Museum. You gotta go to the Holocaust Museum. You gotta do all this other extra shit. You gotta probably sit down and have corned beef and sauerkraut with them. Then next you probably gotta do some of the Jew fair use rituals."
Well, see,
Then you
look,
gotta-
man, what you're talking about with Kyrie Irving, he probably got vocal and he seen the shit that like Kanye and everybody else was saying, or it could be all an act. That's always a thing. But I'm just drawing two parallels now. If it is real, then I'm not saying like the country, but like if it is real, you know what I'm saying? A situation, if it's a real situation, then he probably got vocal and thought he could get away with it. But then you got to realize who runs the NBA, and that also runs the Hollywood industry and the music industry. He probably got threatened, and because he was still playing on the team, even though when he was doing that, he lost sponsorships, but he wasn't kicked off the team. He just had a lot of backlash and a lot of deals cut. But then eventually he probably got too vocal, where the execs got involved, and they do that in the music industry too. They did it with fucking like that dude that made that song "Shorty Wanna Ride" from G Unit. What's his name? Young Buck. A bunch of other people too. Like they run the music industry. There's a video called it's banned on YouTube now, but I just shared a clip of it not too long ago. But then I also have a large portion of it featured in my video called "They Don't Want
How the Jews run the music industry." I've seen that.
Yes, yeah. But
they wanted to ban gangster rap because you get elderly black people who saying we fought for years of segregation and fought for our people, and now you got people want to call us niggas in rap music and promoting all this stuff. We're going backwards.
Exactly.
So then you seen a Jew come out with a stereo saying, "Come on, you all love gangster rap." We went from gangster rap, because at least the gangster rap back in the day wasn't trashy like the ones now. We went from gangster rap to rappers killing each other. To it's okay to kill people, just kill everybody. That's the rap music nowadays. King Von's, because they even got these fake stories too. Oh, did you know King Von used to kill people? Or did you know NBA YoungBoy caught hats before he was a rapper? And it takes is for some dumbass person just to think that they could kill people and not go to jail. They won't go to jail when they kill people, because you seen like Lil Durk, like he's about to get released but he killed somebody. Lil Durk can get away with putting bags on people's heads, but if you do it, your ass getting thrown in jail, and you probably ain't gonna get a trial neither.
Yeah,
that's why they fill up the jails.
Exactly, and that was also mentioned in that documentary. But that's been banned off of YouTube. But I still have portions of it featured in my 2-part series called They Don't Want You to See This About the Rap Industry, and it covers a lot of that. There's a part 1, part 2 series on that I made. It did really well for my shadow banning. But apart from that though, like my just recent video that I think I posted like 2 days ago called Lior Cohen. He's he's the part of that's featured in there that covers him. And a lot of that's real. And so I'm not going to say anything too particularly wordly. But for the record, though, with that, though, they do. And so as they mentioned that, why is there's in the portion of that documentary, why is there a hip-hop recording studio downstairs, but then right above is a living quarters, and there's Jewish people living up above that are the execs, and they have temples and stuff, and like nice living. So
Now
why
you
people are
sound
downstairs?
retarded.
When people are downstairs rapping about killing people, and like Jay-Z's rapping and shit. Jay-Z's manager is living upstairs comfortably, like he's some kind of like royal king with like a fireplace and like poaching like lion fur and bear pelts and stuff on the wall and shit.
For real.
I'm like, yeah, I forgot the dude's name, but he's like some rap exec, and he got like kind of bald. He has like long brown hair, long brown beard. But he's kind of like he knows Leor Cohen and the whole Rockefeller people, and knows Jay-Z.
But you know,
But
who's the
Jay,
big, no. So you know who's the big dumbasses here? The people who want to be like the rappers. All your single mothers for raising their kids to be fucked up. Because how I was raised, I mean, I listened at one point. I listened to drill and shit like the Chicago drill. But after a while, because I was raised, hey, you know what? You go to jail, me and your mama's not rescuing you. You know, you just stuck on your own. So actually, you know, you listen to rap music, but you don't actually do the shit, live the shit. You know, that's different. But see, most people weren't raised right, so that's why they strip the mothers out the homes and shit. You know, and you got these dumbasses out here that think it's okay to do stupid shit, and then once they wind up in jail, you know, that's it. You know, and then then they gonna make money off the rap music you listen to. Then they gonna make double money off of you being in jail.
yeah. Well, see, I'm not against rap music, man.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just gonna be record. I think I'm the blackest white man that's around here. I think I'm more black than most black people that are on YouTube. I'm just gonna say that. Well, if you think about it, yeah, I would say so. But I mean, that's just true. You know what I'm saying? But like, just like even stating that, I think if I was a rapper, I'd be a really good rapper.
Okay, so I got a question. So the season meet what season?